before. He has some big news that he wants to share with us. And in fact, before I take that break, I think we're going to go to him because we want to take some calls when we come back. So joining me right now on the show, as I mentioned, 20 months in jail was sentenced Giuliani's Ukraine fixer. He has since been on the right side of history and calling out Donald Trump and all of his cronies. In fact, he testified under oath in front of Congress, and I have a lot of respect for him. Lev Parnas joining us right now on the program. Lev, it is great to see you, my friend. How are you?
Brian, thank you for having me. It's been a while. It's been great. Right. You hear me good? You hear me good?
Yeah, you were chopping up a little bit there, but can you hear me okay, Lev?
I hear you good. Yeah. I just feel like I hear myself. Maybe it's
an echo. Okay, we'll try to fix that. Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay, we had an echo, and I think now we're good. You hear me good? Okay, Lev?
Yeah, I hear you great. Perfect.
Great. Sorry about that, Lev. Okay. Good to see you, Lev. Thanks for joining us. I know you have some news that you wanted to share with us, but before we get to that, I wanted to ask you this. What do you make of the press conference this morning with Donald Trump and the president of El Salvador defying the Supreme Court's decision and really running what I would consider is a dictatorship? What do you make of this?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, I know it seems crazy, but one of the things I've been doing, and just to get everybody informed, is I left more or less Twitter because of the platform, and I started, moved over to Substack, where I started writing and started being able to. And actually, this weekend I broke the news before even you heard it today. Is I had a call. I think it was Saturday from some of my insiders in Trump world that basically told me that before Trump went over to the fight, he was going over to the UFC fight, that there was conversation that he was going to defy the courts and he was not going to bring him back. And he was laughing at the judges that they were even trying to do it. And today we saw it in plain effect in the Oval. I mean, it was a staged event. You saw Stephen Miller getting up there, doing that whole la-di-da-di, giving that whole speech. It was incredible. I can't even believe they allowed it. And then you see the president of El Salvador sitting there laughing, saying, "Oh, how am I going to allow to get, terrorists back into your country?" And Trump laughing. I mean, it was just really, to me, being born in a Soviet country where it was, communism, where you saw things like that play out, to watch it now being played out in the United States of America, and it's just disgusting. I mean, and then the comments, the hot mic moment. I'm right now actually working behind the scenes. I'm trying to get some things confirmed to see where and how this. I mean, yeah, he said something to the effect of he wants another 5 prisons built, talking about sending U.S. citizens there. He's pissed off all about that CBS interview, and now he wants to shut down CBS and 60 Minutes. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, and that's not even talk about, Brian, the tariffs and everything else, Doge, and we could sit here for hours. I mean, it's just amazing to see what 80 days of Trump. And we used to speak about it. I remember last time I saw you when I was in Vegas. I was on my book tour. We were doing from Shadow Diplomacy, which is important. Right now, it's like a guideline for people to be able to see what Trump actually did. So if you haven't read it, you should definitely pick it up on Amazon, Shadow Diplomacy.
Yep.
It's exactly what we did. He sent me to do back in the day. And now he's doing the same thing all over again, plain sight, with Steve Witkoff. I mean, Steve, that's one of the things I wanted to break with you guys. Steve Witkoff, a lot of people are talking about why is he so close, to Russia, to Russian points were. In 2010, Steve Witkoff signed a recommendation letter to a gentleman by the name of Anatoly Golubchik. Anatoly Golubchik was part of Taiwanchik in the DOJ called it one of the biggest international Russian organized crime rings, to be able to buy an apartment in Manhattan. So, and these people were directly tied to Putin. So Witkoff has relationship going back to Russian organized crime and Putin all the way back to 2010, which we're going to be breaking and looking into, because this is not just because right now he's back in a lot of the attention is here in the United States, and a lot of it's off what's happening in Ukraine, a lot of it's off what's happening in Russia, a lot of it's off what's happening with Iran, but a lot of that's coming to a head, folks. I mean, our tariffs and all of this is just the beginning of what's about to happen. Once, I'm hearing that, any day he's going to invade Iran. The things that are happening in Ukraine. I mean, just Sunday I reported on how it was a massacre over 40 people dead, 100. I mean, so what I'm saying, there's it's like with him, keep your eye on the ball, but unfortunately that ball keeps moving. So it's crazy.
And Lev, speaking of Ukraine, today, once again, after another strike from Vladimir Putin, where innocent women and children died, and Donald Trump, once again, is blaming Ukraine, blaming Zelensky for starting the war. And when talked about this strike and was asked about it, he just said, well, it was a mistake. No, a mistake is when you lock your keys in your car, not when you kill a bunch of innocent people. Clearly, Vladimir Putin does not want peace. But again, today, in front of the president of El Salvador, he blames Ukraine and he blames Zelensky.
Yeah, not only that, but he is refusing now to sell Zelensky missiles. Zelensky, did you hear that one?
Yeah,
Zelensky, because he's giving my so Zelensky said, you know what? Screw you, Trump. I don't need your help. I'll pay you for it. Offering $50 billion deal, the biggest deal the U.S. ever had. And now Trump is saying, oh, Zelensky always wants to buy some. I mean, just think, Zelensky always. I mean, this guy is. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, I've been screaming at the top of my lungs. For the past 5 years, I've been trying to explain to the country this is exactly what would happen, and this is happening.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I'm not here to say I told you so, but what I am here to say is this: we need to stay united. We need to stay strong. I mean, there are breaks. I mean, you started to see the polls. The polls are starting to show he's starting, people are starting to realize that, he's destroying the economy. People are starting to realize that the things that he's doing is destroying our relationships worldwide.
Yeah.
So the midterms is going to be extremely important.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's extremely important right now for everybody to support each other and stay strong at the moment like this.
Agree. I have to ask you this, Lev. If they're willing to deport somebody like this guy Garcia, who doesn't have a criminal record, and he's in one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world, and they won't bring him back, even though the Supreme Court ruled 9-0, I have to ask you personally, are you worried that maybe Trump could do this to you and your family?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still on supervised release. I mean, I'm still under the Trump DOJ control, and I worry every day. We all, I mean, I think all of us now as U.S. citizens, hearing what we just heard, are worried because when you see the president of the United States talking, I think that the biggest thing as a U.S. citizen gave you pride and is strength is that's your home. I mean, one thing, it doesn't matter what, but you can't, I mean, that's your home. You're an American, you're a citizen. America's your home. And now to be able to think that, if Trump doesn't like you or somebody in the Trump atmosphere doesn't like you, now they could label you a terrorist or label you a deserter or whatever, a crazy thing they could do and try to deport you to now El Salvador or, a third world country or anywhere else. I mean, it's crazy to see. I mean, and again, remember, we're not even 90 days in. I mean, 90 days in. I mean, this is not even the quarter mark of his. I mean, it's incredible to see. But, and again, it's not to blame him as much as to blame these spineless senators and congressmen in the GOP that are allowing them to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're allowing him to do it, free reign. They gave him whatever he wanted, carte blanche, as far as all of his nominees. I mean, that was ludicrous. I'm not going to go into that because it's a show of its own. And now they're sitting back, and I'm hearing flack. I mean, a lot of them are, understanding that they made a mistake, but it's like now what are you going to do? Like, what are the solutions? I mean, we're stuck, folks, until the midterms, unless some of these senators and congressmen grow a spine quick enough and do something about it, because that's the only thing that's going to stop them. Because go ahead.
Sorry, Lev, to interrupt you.
No.
I was going to ask you, like, back in the day when you were spending private time with Rudy Giuliani's of the world and Donald Trump, did you ever think that we would get to this point where this man would literally be a dictator? That's exactly what he's doing, right? He's defying court orders. He's defying the Supreme Court. Back in the day when you were doing what you did and the mistakes that you had owned up to and made in the past, did you ever think it would be this bad?
Absolutely not. Well, first of all, you got to understand, when I was under the cult. I was in the cult. I admired him. I thought he was going to be the greatest president ever. When I got out of the cult, I understood what kind of, I realized, understood, paid my dues, and have been talking about what kind of monster and what kind of, what could happen, or to what degree he could go. But never that even I expect him to be able to go to this degree, because growing up as an American citizen, I always believed that we had, some sort of boundaries. We had some sort of, emergency. It says that one person cannot be the king. And what I'm watching play out, and that's the upsetting part to me, is that, how did we get to this point? How did we allow him to even have a chance to take it? What happened to again, not the Democratic people, the voters, because they did their job. They came out. But what happened to our Democratic Party, the leadership? How did they leave if they knew this could happen? How did they not secure somewhere of to protect us, protect the public, protect the democracy against them? Because right now, all you see is everybody's running for the hills and talking about, oh well, nobody thought he could. No, we knew he could. There was plenty of us like me that said that knew him, spent time with him, and said this is what he's going to do, and now he's doing it. So.
Yeah.
Again, Brian, there's lots of questions that need to be answered, but the number one thing is, the midterms, I guess, the most important thing to be able to have some kind.
So obviously what I'm about to ask you is not as important as everything else we've just talked about, but since you spent private time with Donald Trump, I don't know if you saw Bill Maher's commentary on Friday. Apparently, he had this dinner with Donald Trump and Dana White and Kid Rock, and he made it sound like, Donald Trump's not a crazy person. He's not a lunatic. We don't have a lunatic, crazy person in the White House. He just plays one on TV, basically because he was laughing and treated Bill Maher, I guess, with respect for 2.5 hours. I'm wondering what you make of that, because it's so absurd, because you spent a lot of private time with Donald Trump as well.
Listen, the crazy part is the bar has been set so low to be. I mean, let's just think about, listen, Donald Trump is a showman. Donald Trump is an artist. Donald Trump plays, he could be at a rally, he's one person. Behind the scenes at a dinner, he's another person. When he's in front of his family, he's a different person. He's a chameleon. I mean, I don't know how. So to hear Bill Maher, a person that I would expect, if you have such a following and you're out there and you're able to tell people this thing, you have a little bit more common sense to understand that, this was all a setup, a play. They knew you were there. Kid Rock brought you there. The conversation, it was all. It's like, the WWE, prior to you getting there, he made fun of you and saying, I don't even want to go talk to you. And then, of course, when he saw you, he wowed you, because you know what? He's still the president of the United States. And that's what a lot of people forget. A lot of people you talk big game and talk tough and say, oh, I tell him this. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Monday morning quarterback. But just think about when you're in the White House and you're in front of a president of the United States and all of that around you, that history, that glory. It's a powerful tool that this man has to be able to. And then when he gets a Bill Maher in there, he starts showing him all the historical stuff, talk about, and again, I always said Donald Trump is one of the biggest cults in the world, and he's a cult master. And sometimes he could hypnotize you. He hypnotized me. I remember that dinner when we sat there in 2015 when he was running for office. He looked into the water and said, "I don't need this. I'm doing this for the people. I'm doing this big." And I looked at him and I was like, "Holy shit! This man is here to save our country. He's not a politician." And I jumped full head first, and I was in, and until I woke up in prison one day. So a lot of these people are going to eventually do that. But unfortunately, right now, it's hard for me to say, because I can't believe to say that we're back to where history repeats itself, and now he's in office again.
But here's the difference, and I think we'll agree on this between you and there's a lot of differences between a guy like you and Bill Maher. But I believe you, Lev, when you say that, listen, I don't, maybe the word radicalized isn't the best word, but you were in the cult right at that time, and you believe the stuff that Donald Trump said. I believe you when you say that. I don't believe Bill Maher's in the cult. I believe, and I'm not saying you said that, but I think the reason why Bill Maher is doing this, he knows who Donald Trump is just as well as you do. He's a smart guy, just like you are. But Bill Maher's doing it only for ratings and money.
Ratings, money, absolutely. And so many of watching the media, the way the media is turning, and watching some of the social media. I mean, watching people sell their souls for money right now, because everybody understands Donald Trump is a transactional president. And when we say transactional, it's a different level of transaction. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy's selling gold cards for $5 million a piece to anybody that wants to come into the United States. So, I mean, right now you have everybody in the world that wants to make a transaction, and most of these people, you don't have the best intentions. These are not your doctors, your lawyers, your scientists. These are business people. These are people that are, some are, good business people, but majority, when you say business, it's like, there's a atmosphere that comes where you'll go to different lengths, you'll do different things, you'll look the other way, you'll do things. And that's the world we're in right now, where you could negotiate, do it. If you have something for him, he'll negotiate with you. Otherwise.
Yeah. Lev, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your book. I wanted to ask you one more question, though. What would you say to the people in this country, some of whom have lost their jobs, they've lost money in the stock market, they've lost their 401ks, their IRAs are down 30, 40, 50%, but yet some of these people who voted for Donald Trump still are saying, you know what? Things are going to turn around because Donald Trump cares about me. I'm wondering, you know this man better than most people because you spent a lot of time around him. What would you say to those people who still are backing Donald Trump when our economy is in turmoil and we see what's going on all over the world?
Wake up, wake up and smell the coffee. I mean, so you got several different types of people. Some people need to wake up. Some people are not going to wake up. They're just in a cult. And then there's another group of people just try to make money off of it and try to figure out how they could use either social media or use the platforms to be able to jump on this bandwagon. Bitcoin. There's so many different, ways that Donald Trump is giving all these people a ways to. So, but I would say wake up and take a look. I mean, if you can't notice now what he's doing with all of this that happening, we're in a constitutional crisis. I mean, we say it, but just you, if somebody would have said this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people would never believe it's possible that the United States is an actual constitutional crisis where the president of the United States just told the Supreme Court to go F itself because and not do it. And now this is just the beginning, because we have a lot more coming down the road where there's courts and that are trying to interfere with what Trump is doing besides just immigration. Because immigration, yes, it's a tough one, but there's also, don't forget what Doge is doing. Getting rid of all of there's so many things happening. But look, Brian, I want to say, first of all, thanks to people like you, independent journalists that are out there that are, because, the media out there is not doing its job. It's guys like you that are actually go out there, like my son, Aaron Parnas, like the Midas group, like all of these groups out there that are out there trying to bring the news actually that's out there. Me, I'm not a journalist, but I break the news. I bring it, I'm saying to you.
Listen, Lev, I was able to get to know you a little bit, and I can say this without the shadow of a doubt that you're a decent, good man.
Thank you, Brian.
You are a good father. You are a good husband. You are a family man. You are a decent man. And I am worried for you. And I am worried for people like you. And I really, truly mean that. I have to ask you this real quickly here. You know how Donald Trump works behind the scenes. Do you believe that this was market manipulation, and you believe insider
100%,
trading?
100%. And that's one of the things I'll end off with this, that, definitely who if you didn't get a chance to pick up the book, Shadow Diplomacy, it's on Amazon. You could find it on Amazon. You definitely want to get it. If you get it, you could go to my website. I'll get signed for you. But the knowledge that you'll pick up to get into Donald Trump's mind. I wrote it when I was in prison because I didn't think I was going to be able to testify eventually in Congress, which I did. And Bill Barr was trying to shut me up. So you definitely want to get it. But the new project, what I'm doing right now, which I think is even more important, where I would like for your listeners to go to my Substack and start subscribing. It's free for those of you that can't afford it. For those of you that could afford it, it's measly $8, but you could definitely support the work that I'm doing, and you're going to get a lot of inside information. What I've been doing is basically before the news breaks every day, I'm out there getting the information in Donald Trump's mind about what's going on from sources that I have on the inside from Trump world. Also, don't forget, I negotiated with Zelensky and his chief of staff Yermak in 2019. So I'm extremely close into the Ukrainian government sources. Also, like it or not, I have a lot of big Russian oligarch friends from my past that now I also, because of opening, so we have a lot of Russian sources. So because of that, I'm able to bring some insight on what's going on, not only with Donald Trump, with everybody on my Substack. So I ask everybody to kindly go subscribe there to Substack. Lev remembers, Lev Parnas. And I think you won't be sorry, and you'll get some information that you're not going to get on the media or nowhere else.
And it's a great book. It's a great read, Lev. Your book is phenomenal. Please order it. And your Substack is great. Lev, keep up the great work, my friend. It's good to see you. Please stay safe, and we'll talk soon, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian. Keep up the great work, and you're doing great. Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Appreciate that. That's Lev Parnas, everybody. He's a good man. He's a good, decent man. He got involved in the cult. He made mistakes. He dearly paid the price for it. And I'm worried for him. And I'm worried for